Hello and welcome everybody to part 2 of our presentation. Once again, please make sure that you're listening carefully to the following presentation and then also fill in your guided notes section and key concept questions accordingly so that you might be able to find success in tomorrow's lesson. To continue on with this part of the presentation, we're going to go over the basics of democracy. Think about this question: what is democracy? When we say that we have a democratic government, what does that actually mean? Well, let's go ahead and get started to find out more about what that special word actually means in relationship to our government. Democracy has many basic fundamental foundations that comprise to form the way that our particular government runs, or at least tries to run, in a big way. Recognition of the fundamental worth and dignity of every single person. In other words, everyone matters. Number 2, respect for the equality of all persons. The goal of government, in democratic governments anyway, is to respect that everyone should have an equal fair shot at living life and, of course, pursuing their dreams. Faith in majority rule and an insistence upon minority rights. What this means is that for any decisions that are made in a democracy, whoever has more votes in a popular opinion shall rule on that particular measure. However, those people who hadn't had their opinions respected should still have their opinions respected in a big way where they are treated fairly. Number 4, acceptance of the necessity of compromise. In other words, the best governments are the ones where people can and should get along to get things done. And number 5, insistence upon the widest possible degree of individual freedom. In other words, a democratic government runs best when people acknowledge their freedoms, act on their freedoms, and of course obey those freedoms. When you think about this word right here, voting, that's one of the best words that probably summarizes what it means to be in a democratic society. When you vote, you voice your opinion. When you vote, you also have a chance to influence who of course represents you in a representative democracy. We'll get into more specifics of that later. So what are citizens entitled to under the democratic concept of equality? When we say that every person has equality, or we should strive for equality, what does that actually mean? Think about that in particular to your lesson tomorrow as we strive to form what it means to be better citizens. Speaking of that word, a citizen is someone who holds both rights and responsibilities within a state. There are personal and civic responsibilities. Personal responsibilities is like taking care of yourself, being responsible for your own behavior, and understanding the consequences that could ensue from such said behavior. Civic responsibilities comprises to form your role as a citizen in a larger community, obeying the law, paying taxes, being informed, voting, respecting the rights of others, and serving as a juror on jury duty when summoned. In a democracy, part of everyone's responsibility is to serve the public good. A great example of this is to take a step back from any given situation and to think about what the good of all people is, and that should guide you in the way about how you should act as well. Ask yourself this question, not just for your notes now, but also for the lesson tomorrow. How civically responsible are you? Let's last look at the way that our government runs in relationship to us and our economy. Democracy and the free enterprise system work together, and they go together hand in hand. Freedom for the individual is demonstrated even in America's economic system. The American economic system is called the free enterprise system. Basically, our capitalistic system works off of these principles: private ownership of capital goods, investments made by private decisions, and success and failure is determined by competition in the marketplace. If you look at this example up here, you can see this is the Coca-Cola logo representing Coca-Cola. Now, even though this is a play on their logo, the fact is that Coca-Cola is one of the great American success stories, which has thrived off of the ownership of the capital of the company and the development of their idea to broaden the base of their capital good that they provide the people. Of course, the company has undergone successes and failures, but over time they've adjusted to the modern day market and they've competed against other competitors to try to provide the best service possible. In a nutshell, that is what capitalism is. How the free enterprise system works. So basically, when we talk about the free enterprise system or capitalism, we're talking about the decisions of what to know about what to produce and how to provide it to the people in the marketplace. Supply and demand determines what is produced in the market. When the supply goes up, the price goes down, and when the supply goes down, the price goes up. This relationship of supply and demand is a give and take relationship. Now, before we go on, you might be wondering, well, how does this affect the government, and how does the government affect this? It's very simple. You see, government puts in place policies that affect the way that our capitalistic free market system works, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. Never out of malice or harm, our government tries to find ways to better provide a living experience for all Americans where they can thrive in a capitalistic society. Sometimes doing that is hard. As you can see here by this diagram, you'll see exactly what I mean by that. Capitalism thrives off of the pillars of government and the people working together on these principles that I just mentioned to you. However, keep in mind it's government's job to try their best to make sure that everyone has a fair shot at achieving equity in terms of its capitalistic free market promises. In other words, democracy and the political system go hand in hand in another big way. As the free markets run and work their course, our government tries their best to monitor and regulate and to put in place provisions to allow for the American worker, the American business owner, and the American business in general to function. We need all of these tenets to work together for a capitalistic society to benefit everybody. Let's be fair, though. There are some problems with our free enterprise system. Part of being a civics and government student means identifying the drawbacks of every type of thought and also philosophy, whether it comes to government or economics. Historically, racial and gender discrimination have limited the opportunities for certain groups to find jobs or to start their own businesses. There seems to be a major gap as well between the rich and the poor. Government's job is to try to step in to try to fix these problems with capitalism and not replace these problems and not replace these economic philosophies fully. However, government has acted in many unique and dynamic ways to build about a better today and a better tomorrow for the people. Government tries to protect the public and preserve private enterprise through the following ways. Throughout our history, antitrust laws have been passed, pure food and drug laws have been passed, pollution standards have been implemented, building codes have been implemented and enforced, and government promotes the economy through subsidies, public schools, and infrastructure. As you can see, the economy needs government, and government needs the economy. So how much should our government participate, regulate, promote, police, and serve businesses and or the people? For tomorrow's lesson, I want you to think about this question. Just how big should government be? Look at our government. Is our government too big? Too small? Are they doing too much or not enough? And what about this? What if there was no government? I'll leave you with those thoughts for now. Please make sure that you finish all of your notes and the key concept questions for tomorrow's class. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me and I will help you accordingly. Thank you and good luck.